1-0. Second game was a win for
Puerto Paisa.
sometime. One of the players I'm very familiar with is Nathan Pogue.
Okay. Well, the guy that I think is unbelievable is number 26 in the back for IPS. That's Adam King. And Adam is, I want to say, pushing 40, but he still runs like he's 19, which is uncanny. He's a guy that's been in the leagues a long time, but very, very smart and very athletic for his age. The rest of the players out here are going to be somewhere between the ages of 18 and 27. Like I said, this is going to be a game today, I think, of youth and energy versus wisdom and experience, and we'll see what happens in this heat. I checked, it was about 88 degrees before we came out on the pitch, right?
All right, just to set everybody straight, PDX FC is in the black. The IPS is in the red. IPS will move from our right to our left. PDX will move from our left to our right. We're just underway. 45-minute halves. 18 players per team, 7 substitutions. There's no re-entry, so if you're subbed out, you're done.
11 players on the team, so it's very important that Luke does a good job of managing guys' minutes. I think he's going to have the edge on fitness. A lot of these guys are D1 college players, so they're very used to the physicality, the running. That last guy you saw with pace is Nick Scardino out on the left wing. He went to the University of Washington. I think he's going into his sophomore year. Came from the Timbers. Very physical player. I think we might see something from him. Oh, good tackle. So if you notice that IPS is just sort of setting the tempo right now. Now this could be dangerous right here. When you've got right now a 3v3, you know, and fortunately PDX FC was able to collapse guys back. There comes Scardino up the wing. I watched these guys in the friendly last weekend, and they're, for a group that's not been together long, there is a lot of creativity. That's a great ball. That's Andrew Nunes. He plays at Oral Roberts University. He's a sophomore. Andrew is a local boy. He is from here, but he went down to Oklahoma to play for D1, and very, very crafty winger. We'll look to see for him to break down players this year on the wing, today on the wing, take guys on and do just what he did, hit bending cross, and hopefully get one of those big strikers. Watch 26 on this set piece. He's the Cuban international. See what he's got. There he is. Yep, he got his head on it. All right, that's what you're going to see again and again and again.
All right, Steve, set the goaltenders for us.
The goalkeepers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this gentleman, he's
the PDX goalie.
Okay, you know, very, very good shot stopper. I watched him in the friendly, just trying to get a feel for him.
On my roster, they didn't tell me which one of these guys is the goalkeeper.
Okay, your goal.
Because the goalkeeper for IPS, I believe, is Max Gorlow. All right, you're looking through your records.
There we go. Zach Nelson. So Zach's playing up at Seattle University. He was in the Timbers under-23 group. A very athletic player, fearless when I saw him in the friendly. And, you know, that's what these big games come down to. Most games in soccer come down to one goal. It's one, you know, it's really it can be a simple mistake. It can be a little bit of creativity up front.
Look at Andrew. Our first game was won by Peronis 1-0 on a goal where the goalkeeper fell down. Our second goal, though, our second game was 5-4 with penalty kicks.
Here we go. That was a beautiful turn by 23. He's going to cut it back or finish it himself. There's a goal.
There's a goal. First goal of the game goes to PDX Portland.
And that was a nice bit of build-up through the back, through the center midfielder. Actually, your big number 9, he plays the number 9 or the target striker, came back and had a beautiful turn number 23, which is Miles Sanchez. Beautiful turn, and then he played a nice through ball into the wing, and that player was smart enough to take it inside and, opt to shoot and finish himself.
That goal coming 5 minutes into the game.
I believe that's from Alan Gaitan. And he's a...
I've seen him play before.
Yeah, Timbers Academy product. He plays down at Southern Oregon. And that's going to be a ball to the goalkeeper. I think Southern Oregon is picking up, but they're starting or they're rebirthing that program. They're going to be very good this year at the down at Southern Oregon in Ashland.
What's your background in soccer?
Thanks for asking. I was a Division I college coach. I coached
where at?
The University of South Alabama. I coached at Willamette University. I've done high school varsity. Played Division I, played in Ireland many pounds ago and many years ago. And and then done local club soccer, so I know a lot of these boys. Okay, this is a dangerous opportunity coming for IPS. A lot of targets. Oh, he overhits it. So now you're going to see their backline set and get the PDX backline. They've got numbers in there, and that's it. When you're countering like that, you got to get behind these guys really quick.
The first game we did today, our color commentator was Sergio Medel from FCM Portland.
Oh, okay, great. Well, you got to respect these players. It's about 88 degrees, and on that turf, it's probably pushing 95, 100. And to think that you go run for 90 minutes with one timeout. So Nunes there opts to just try to play safe and play long. And this is where the game's won or lost, right where we're looking, and the cameras are looking. You're looking at the midfield. The midfield is sort of the trenches of the match, and it's where the game's won or lost. Okay, here comes a great ball there by Nick Scardino. His team held up because they didn't want to be offsides. So here we go. IPS is going to build out of the back.
Josh, both these teams look very, very they look very good, don't they?
Yeah, the pace is clearly different this match than the one
way
before.
Different.
The size, and in fact,
exactly.
6'5" or close to that is largely different than the first couple matches today.
You can pick out the 6'5" guy just right off the bat. Is he a midfielder?
He's playing what's called the number 6. That's right in front of the 4 back line, and his job is to act as the head of the spear and push players wide as they come on the attack. The game now is moving where they're going to play bigger number 6s because they sort of act as a fifth defender. They can win the ball in the air like this gentleman's done. Now he's going to play a big switch, and that is a very tough ball to complete, and he nails it to Scardino. That is a very, very complicated, challenging pass to hit, and he hit it on a dime. I think IPS is going to have a tough time breaking down this back line because they've got youth, energy, and they've got a lot of depth coming off the bench.
You're listening to Oregon Sports Beat and watching Oregon Sports Beat. This is the Oregon Open Cup, the second edition. Last year's won by FCM Portland. These games, 45-minute halves. We'll take a break halfway through the first half, halfway through the second half for water. There's a shot just wide to the left.
That was a beautiful ball by the defender playing the ball through behind their 2 center backs, and just an unlucky finish. He had the right idea to hit it first time, but that happens in soccer. Maybe the keeper should have cleaned that up. I'm not sure, but that was a very good run and a very good ball.
1-0, PDX Portland, or PDX FC leads IPS.
So what happens in the strategy here? It's early in the game, so you're going to see PDX just sort of sit in and fill these guys out. They've got the lead. They got the heat is plays into their favor. Now you're going to watch IPS. They're going to have to, at least at halftime, start to decide, you know what, we got to press some guys forward because we're behind, and it's a cup tournament, right? It's a match, so.
Yeah, you lose this game, you don't play next week.
Exactly. It's immediate single elimination.
Steve, I got a question for you. We were talking about Daniel Saez playing the number 6 at 6'5".
Yep.
Is there any downside, in your opinion, from having the height like that, or for players, especially at that position, to have that frame? Is it only beneficial? Is there anything he needs to overcome or compensate for?
That's a great question. It's not 6'5" is not the prototypical number 6. Oftentimes, if you think of like the Portland Timbers and Diego Chara, he's a really quick-footed, tenacious guy that can press the ball very, very quickly. Normally, you would see a guy of his stature and size in the center back position.
Sure.
I thought that's where they were going to play him at the start, but they seem to be comfortable with what they have right there. And they probably are moving him up to the field because he's got so much international experience. They want to see what he can do more on the ball offensively than being just a stay-at-home defender.
And it seems they really want to run the ball through him, capitalize on his passing ability. I mean, you keyed on that long diagonal pass. That was fantastic. You want to make use of that further up if can be, I would assume.
Exactly. So the 6 is sort of like a pocket quarterback in American football where they're going to spray the ball side to side and they're going to create sort of change the tempo, create the what direction we're going and what speed and his experience. That's where I think Luke chose to put him in there.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you do in soccer now?
I really just help out. I've been traveling the world looking at different styles of soccer. I've spent about 4 visits to Spain, just watching games and really trying to. Oh wow, that's a great shot and a great save.
Spain just won the World Cup, right? Not the World Cup. I mean the European tournament.
Spain is always going to compete, depend on which cup you have. Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Right.
Real Madrid won the La Liga. I think that's maybe what you're thinking.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. And Messi plays at Barcelona, so there's a lot of tension about that result. But okay, so here we go. We got a goal mouth scramble. This could be trouble. No, that should have been on goal. That
Over
was
the top.
That was a little half volley. He's in at the penalty spot. Maybe get a shot on frame and make the keeper make a save. But here comes IPS, showing a little bit of experience and testing out the goalkeeping as well as the back line.
Contrast in goalies. We have a very tall goalie on this end, not so tall on this end, a little stockier.
Yeah, I think this goalkeeper for PDXC. That first save on the half volley he made was fantastic. I mean, it just naturally came out, closed the striker's first touch, and then made a great reaction save. He could be the difference. That could have been an equalizer right there.
The one of the players that Josh and I were talking about on PDX is Johnny Rodas. I believe he played at Oregon State.
Okay. Oh, that's a foul from behind, absolutely. So they're going to get a free kick here. He got him from behind. It's outside the box, so I think he's going to he'll give him a free kick from about 26 yards.
If I'm right, Johnny Rodas scored a goal last year in this tournament.
In
Did
the
he?
Oregon Open Cup.
Okay, okay.
In the inaugural edition last summer.
Well, I'll give Luke Babson credit, the coach for PDX, and he was gathered a lot of talent for this. So if I'm a betting man, they might be the dark horse because they're young, but in this tournament, he's got so much talent and depth coming off the bench. Going late into tournaments, that could be the key. But IPS, these guys are experienced. I wouldn't write them off just yet. You can see they just were pressing at the other end. This game's starting to go back and forth.
I think when I think about the players in this tournament, I tried to think of somebody who was maybe the most outstanding player in the tournament before it got started.
Oh, there's 2-0. There's 2-0. So that was a deflection. Did he call offsides? No, he didn't. Scardino scores that. IPS sort of got caught flat-footed. It was a deflection on the free kick. And then what you saw was Scardino just be opportunistic and step in and clinically finish that. Caught the keeper flat-footed and the defense flat-footed. 2-0. That's a big result. If they can get 3 by half, I think IPS is going to be in real trouble. Soccer is, as you guys know, is a game that the 3 is really hard to come back from. Yeah. So we'll see if IPS can rally here.
The player that I was going to mention, I think he's playing in the next game you're doing, is Alcides Paco Thomas. And he was an outstanding player in this tournament last year. He was the most valuable player in the futsal tournament we did.
Gotcha.
Big guy, really active around the net.
Yeah.
I think he's 6'5", 6'6".
Oh, boy. Well, the game's certainly getting bigger. Larger players that are more athletic.
Pressure, Tony.
Steve, how do you feel programs like this with IPS, PDX FC, for example, whether you use your son as an example with his playing experience in Spain, comes back to the States and plays at a place like this for the summer, how do clubs like this fit into a player's career arc and how it provides them opportunities? What would you say and characterize teams like this and how they provide opportunities for players?
Sure. The soccer in America, people don't realize is blossoming and blooming in a million different little communities and cities at a number of different levels, from the first division all the way down to what would be fifth or sixth division. What this brings is for local players is a chance to play against experienced, very successful teams like IPS and sharpen their sword before, example, my son will be going back on trials with Getafe, who's at the U19 level in La Liga, the first division.
Wow.
So for him in this, to get there's no better coach or training methodology than the game. So for him to get an opportunity to play with quality players that are experienced, it's a real win-win. And I think that's what you see in Europe and in Latin America is so many opportunities to play against veteran players.
Yeah.
I talked to Diego Valeri about this. I was moderating a futsal symposium, and he said, it's when he was 19, even younger than that, they were already had him in training with older guys and sort of teaching him the craft, almost like you would some type of carpenter or something. You're learning how to build the house, right?
We had a futsal tournament in March. We're going to have another one in August 15th.
Well, futsal is also a game that's massively expanding, and kids love it. It's very common. You'll see, your Latin American countries. It's very popular. It's popular in Spain and Italy, France. It's just a smaller, different game. It's a much heavier ball, and it's not a. That's great defense by Brendan Dexter for PDX FC.
The March tournament, the futsal tournament, we did indoors. It was indoors.
Yeah.
Really fast-paced game.
But, having watched Barcelona's first team play Inter Movistar, which is the top Madrid professional team, these players in futsal are making $1 million a year. They'll get 10 to 15,000 fans. It's a raucous, crazy environment. I always tell people, if you really want to see a different kind of soccer, check out futsal online, and you'll see how passionate. When you go sit in Barcelona's stadium and hear, the roar of the crowd, it's almost like being at an NBA game that's a playoff match or something. It's very, very exciting, and it's the birthplace of the foot skills that take you to soccer.
Hey, Coach, a quick minute.
What do you think about no fans here? How does that affect the game?
These guys are all very seasoned players, have been playing their whole lives, so they're going to come out, try to get a result, and focus on their position, on their job, and it doesn't. It always energizes it, but on a hot day with no fans, you're certainly right. It does have an impact that maybe you're not as excited if you're coming out with a big crowd. But
this is a water break. We take it halfway through the first half and second half, and lasts maybe 2-3 minutes.
That's very smart, especially given all the conditions out there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Steve, I'm guessing your son, if he's playing for a U19 squad over there in Spain, is that right?
Yep.
So he elected, instead of going to college, just go overseas. Was that his choice between the two, and he wanted to go to Europe?
Yeah, I moved over there at 16.
Wow.
Left high school, and he's been doing school online, and he's been training in some of the La Liga youth academies for the last 2 years. This year he'll go up to Getafe, which is one of the top 5 teams in La Liga, and try and break in and get minutes in the U19, and hopefully use that as a springboard to go play somewhere else, either in Europe or maybe back in the States.
How common would you say that is now, or maybe is becoming, if that's a trend, for players who there's the common way, I'm going to go play D1 soccer, go to the Big Ten, go to the Pac-12, go to the SEC, wherever,
sure,
and then maybe you play professionally after that, versus what your son did and however many others do that of, I'm not going to go to college, I'm going to go overseas, I'm going to play in clubs and maybe do school online. How common is that?
Yeah, so it's not that common because it's very challenging to make the connections, but it's becoming more common. There's a lot of different paths in soccer. You think of there's numerous players who've come from Division I and even Division II. You think of the top striker in the MLS is for a while held the most goals was Chris Wondolowski. He came out of Division II out of Chico State.
Wow.
But you look at the most successful player at the international level right now, Christian Pulisic, who's banging in goals for Chelsea, and that's the path he took.
Interesting.
So it's not the only path. The MLS is giving more and more opportunities to domestic players, and that is a great springboard too. But
Pulisic went to Europe when he was about 15, and now he's the hope of the U.S. soccer program.
Certainly, yeah. I think he's more than the hope. I think he's getting it done. He's in great form right now, scoring goals, and Frank Lampard, his coach, said he continues to mature physically and mentally, and you're seeing it in the results at Chelsea. It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting.
What do you think about the futures of the U.S. national team? I mean, a lot of coaching changes over the past years, but what do you think their potential is over the next 5 to 10 years?
We're sort of a sleeping line, in my opinion. There's loads of talent, and if you look in what's going on with all the American players over in Europe right now, think of Reina at playing in the German Bundesliga. There's numerous players playing in different parts of Europe and signing big contracts, and money talks. And so as they get more experience, I think you're going to see a new youth infusion, and that's great skills by Nunes. And then you're going to see with time, if they sort of bet on these younger guys, I think we're going to – oh, that's a great strike. Good save by the keeper. I think you're going to see – it's going to take maybe one more generation, but we'll be knocking on the doors of FIFA, especially as MLS continues to grow opportunities for players. The one thing I would say about America is if it doesn't work, we'll try to fix it. We don't always make the right choice, but we'll try to fix it.
Sure.
Well, expectations are currently low, I think.
Exactly.
I think the fun thing also to watch is the U.S. women's national team, and to see how far the professional ranks have gone, and to learn. I've gone back and done some research on the beginning, just of the professional leagues. The MLS was the first, but there's been a number of different women's professional leagues that have propped up over the years, and the current one's been around for a while. And obviously the women's national team has been highly successful, and it's been cool to see what they've been able to do internationally.
Oh yeah, I mean they were the golden standard with as many World Cups and Olympics they've won. The rest of the world though is catching on. If you read what Barcelona's board said, is we're going to put a ton of opportunity and capital into the women's game. Real Madrid did the same. I think they put into the women's in Spain, to the women's professional league, about 25-30 million. You're seeing American big players go over there, and they're getting professional contracts. Even the EPL has opened up facilities to the women's game and coaching. And oh geez, that's a tough cross there. But I think that the rest of the world has got caught on to soccer, women's soccer. They like watching it.
Yeah.
There's fan support, and that's been a springboard. I would say that you really got to watch Japan. You got to watch South Korea, and then Holland and France are going to be real contenders. The English women's team, as well as Spain, we're all knocking on the door of the women's team in this last World Cup. So I would never bet against the U.S. women. I'm just simply saying that. That's an offside. Nope, he didn't get it. That we're going to be challenged.
Yeah.
And it's great because the exposure. I think there was a stat with Nike that said they sold more of the women's jersey in the last World Cup than any jersey they've ever sold.
Exactly.
So what's that tell you about support?
Well, a lot.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Actually, my daughter plays, and she's the captain of a Division II girls team in Colorado, and
Which college is that?
Regis University, and she might
in Denver.
In Denver, very good, yeah. And so she's going to her senior year, and she may go over and bang around over in Europe.
Wow.
So there's an example. But
For sure.
It's great to see the Thorns support with the size and the numbers they get pre-pandemic. So
Right.
I think the women's game is going to be something that has commercial support as well as fan support, and is just going to continue to blossom.
All right, PDX leads this game 2-0. Last couple of times down, Steve, they've been trying to set up Wandi Ali.
Yeah, you can see that there's IPS has dug a bit of a hole. If they can get a goal before half, there's a big deep ball. Maybe steal something, catch the back line of PDX off balance, and But the pace that look at the pace that they're setting. Here comes Scardino on goal, and keeper makes a great foot save. He's going to cut it back. No, there you. All right, and IPS gets plenty of numbers home to help out. But if you notice, PDX is showing their fitness and pace and youth, and just setting a really aggressive tempo that IPS is having a tough time matching. Now this is how IPS, if they start playing where they just let the ball do the work, that's where their experience is going to take over, and they can definitely run with these younger boys.
How would you coach them up if you use that phrase, let the ball do the work? To take that a step further, how do you do that?
So the ball is the fastest thing on the field. It's faster than any player. It can run and go to places that players can't. So what, Harvey and Jerry Fahey have got to do is settle these guys down and say, look, let's spread this team wide like they're doing right now, and just let the ball, use the ball as a passing tool to find, not try to run physically with these younger guys.
Sure.
And I guarantee you, I've played with Jerry Fahey. He is a tenacious winner. He's from England, and he's a very experienced player. Played in many national cups with him, and I'll guarantee you he'll give him an earful at the half to do that.
Now, I'm not 100% certain on this. I think 2 years ago, IPS went to the NPSL semifinals back in New Jersey and finished and lost that first game.
Okay, well, they, like I said, they're always knocking on the door of every cup match, and that's a great ball in Oregon. That's another great ball. This guy can finish. Watch out. And that's a great strike. So here comes PDX.
High and over the net on the shot.
What do you think is the temptation to, as you say, if you were not letting the ball do the work? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. The ball moves faster. You don't want to risk taking up space as a defender, lose the ball, give up an easy opportunity. Seems pretty straightforward, but easier said than done, and not every team does that. So what do you think is the reason some teams might not do that and fall into a trap?
So if you have a young team or a team that's very fit, they're always in your face. Think of it like a high press in basketball, where they're doing a full press,
full
maybe.
Court press,
full court press. And so when you get the ball, you get stuck with it at your feet. What you would ask your players to do is just play 1 and 2 touch, quickly get rid of the ball so that they're not necessarily stuck with the ball with a young guy kicking at their heels the whole time.
So oftentimes getting stuck with it and not knowing where to pass and not having the vision would probably be a big reason.
Scardino's still dribbling. The other is, if you're going to lose the ball, that's a great cross. If you're going to lose the ball wide, because it's not dangerous wide. If you lose it up the middle of the field, they're right at your goal.
Right.
So you're going to tell your players, let's throw the ball out in the wings where we can have some space to play. We get players isolated and use the width. You see how much green space is out on the sides of the field? Well, that's just naturally because players concentrate where the ball is.
Right.
You could do some things tactically. You can tell players, look, let's like number 19 or number 10 for IPS, let's get you guys out wide, and then you play the ball back and you ask Adam King to swing it over the other side. It's easy, like you said, it's easier said than done.
So with this wealth of knowledge, why aren't you still coaching in college?
I help out a lot with different clubs and academies, and quite honestly, I've just been taking a break and enjoying watching my kids play.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Do you get to watch your son in Spain? Are their matches televised at all or online stream or anything?
Yeah, I got to see him on the Real Madrid channel when he played Real Madrid. That was pretty exciting. And then, you go over and watch the matches there if you have time. But it's
Was that a U19 program in the Real Madrid organization that he was playing?
He was actually playing in that match. Their U18s.
Okay.
He was a U16 playing up U19.
Wow.
So trying to fight his way in, and it's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
His advantage, and maybe he'll get his debut with PDX fairly soon. I think they brought him on for depth, but he's 6'2", and that's not a center back, and that's not common you see in Spain.
And he's 18 now?
Just turned 18, yeah.
Wow.
So he's been training like a Dickens to get ready for their preseason in a couple weeks.
There's a shot in front, goalie up.
Oof.
And goalie had it covered.
Goalie showed you can do some pull-ups on the crossbar.
So here's Nunes on the ball, and what you're seeing is PDX is getting confident. They're trying to play out of the back, and this can be dangerous if you give the ball away right in the center of the field. You want to lose it on the wings, and Andrew knows that. Just hit a little bit of a technical bad touch. Happens to the best of us. There's some experience in the midfield, swinging it wide where it needs to be.
Zach Nelson in goal for PDX.
All right. He plays on. The ref plays on, even though there's a bit of foul there. Brendan Dexter on the ball. He plays at Memphis. Played at the University of Memphis. Went as a freshman, got 18 matches, started 14, which is a local boy from Oregon City, and got to play against some big teams, SMU, and some Division I top 10 ranked teams, and started and played in a lot of those games. He got picked up by OSU. He's a engineering major and wanted to come back to what's the great school of engineering there.
Absolutely.
And he's a hell of an athlete. He is. Can I say that? Whoops.
Yes, you can. We're on cable.
Okay. All right. He is 6 foot and a flying machine. He runs about a 4:08 miles. So
Goodness.
I look to see. Hopefully, Pac-12 soccer is very physical, and hopefully he can get some minutes down there at Oregon State. I think they're going to be pleased with him.
Terry Boss has done a tremendous job at Oregon State and what he's done with the program. Just a couple falls into that program.
Yeah, the depth in that team and the results they're getting is very exciting. I think that's part of what attracted Brendan to come home.
Yeah.
So here's the big man on the ball. See how he's just setting the tempo. We're not going to put that ball at risk. We're going to swing it wide and see if we can get. These two guys are trying to get, just like in basketball, what's a 2v1. They're trying to isolate a player, go at him, and make him a mistake. Now what you're seeing is PDX is slowing it down and switching, and it's called switching and probing. Let's go see if we can find a little gap to break the IPS back line. IPS steals it. Now they're going to counter. Let's see if they can make something out of it.
PDX has the numbers.
You're right. They got about 7 guys back in the box there, and that's the secret, is to catch a team when they have just a few guys back quickly, overload them, and if you don't, they collapse guys in the box, and very hard to get in through a wall of those black players.
2-0, PDX leads IPS.
Here comes PDX. Oh, just a good idea, bad ball.
Oregon Sports Beat bringing you the Oregon Open Cup. I'm Dave Hall, along with Josh Warden and Steve Storley. Steve bringing us a wealth of information.
I'm learning a lot.
Me too.
I don't know about you. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Well, when you turn 53 and you've played this game since you were 5 years old, hopefully I learned a few things through osmosis,
Yeah, see, you're young. 50 is the new 30.
Well, what happens if I look 70 and feel 80?
Well, maybe you will in 20 years. But what league was it in Ireland that you spent some time in?
I lived in Belfast in the during the Troubles in the late 80s. It was a terrible time to be there, the football over there was terrible. It was just mud and studs. So 6 studs and guys trying to break each other's legs. It wasn't actually, if you say the MLS game now and the games of these guys, the soccer or football has gotten a lot more attractive, far more technical. All these players are it's a different game. It's a lot of skill and technique and patience. And when back in the 70s and 80s when I played, you just ran over people and you'd woof it up the field and chase it. And that was a great attempt. It looks like it almost happened. Big switch, driven ball. That's the big target man that they're trying to play the ball through. He's like a center in basketball. He's just going to sit up there and lay balls off, and it's working. It's very much working.
In front.
Oh, he should have hammered that.
Didn't get anything on the ball that time, and the goalie came up with the save.
Now you see how they tried to counter, and the big 6 stepped in there, and
Sias is way upfield from where he's been.
In fact, he's a little out of position right now, if truth be told. I don't think he's as match fit as he'd like to, but this is probably a preseason for him, And they're winning 2-0, so
he feels confident enough a little.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke gives him a rest, and well deserved. Maybe not.
I got a chance to chat with one of the current Irish Premier League players. He had played at Oregon State, Will Seymour, who now plays for Sligo.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were in the league or what the teams were at that point when you're playing.
So Sligo and a lot of these teams there's two leagues. There's Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland.
Right.
So they would, I want to say we're in the Southern Ireland, which is actually pound for pound probably a better league than Northern Ireland.
Gotcha.
It's just more experienced players, well-funded, more teams. Now that's a great shot.
Oof. All right, that shot by IPS, that's Braulio Marin, and he is one of the better players. And a great shot right on goal.
Yeah, he bent that in. The keeper just got his fingers on it, and it hit the crossbar. Otherwise, that could have been in the back of the net. That was well bent.
Yeah, 6 inches lower, that's in.
Yeah, he's shooting from 35, 40 yards there. So because the keeper tipped it, you've got a corner over for IPS. Let's see if they can do something. If they can get a goal by halftime, this game is wide open.
Even if it comes in a set piece, I think. I mean, they haven't gotten any goals just in the game action, but I would wonder if a free kick, a botch play, a corner kick might spark something.
So this is where you'll see an IPS player get sort of nasty and stick his head somewhere where it's dangerous, but maybe get a result. Let's see what happens here. Long left-footed in-swinger.
Corner kick, low driving kick.
Okay, nothing comes out of that. It's a well-hit ball, just nobody got on the end of it.
Especially when teams don't have a lot of ability to practice for obvious reasons this summer and they're not able to work on set pieces. What do you think would be the general the type of corner kick plays where everyone's going to know the principles even if you don't have a set play? What are you looking for when it comes to a corner kick?
You know, what he just hit was a ball that comes in hot, bending away from the goalkeeper. And that's a well-hit ball. It makes it very hard for the keeper to get. It's hard to judge for the defenders. And he's throwing it, we say, into the mixer, right into the box, hoping that somebody gets their head on it.
Yeah.
And when that ball's coming in, whip that hard, bending, you just all you have to do is just glance it off your eyebrow or forehead, and it's going in with authority on the goalkeeper. So that was a well-hit corner. You're just going to, at this point, throw it in the mixer and hope some of your big guys or somebody that's, crafty gets the timing right and gets their head on it.
It did seem, though, that it was swinging away from goal, but the player who had the header, Tony Polis, it was almost caught off guard. It seemed he had to kind of reach back. It was farther from the goal than he expected. I mean, I don't know if he misjudged it or what the case was.
Yeah, I mean, remember that ball's arcing like a major league curveball. Yeah. You're trying to stick your head on it, running full steam in a sweaty, hot day. It's not easy. It's not easy. So it looks like they gave a handball off of that shot. The midfielder hit a nice deep shot, and it was deflected, so they're going to give him a free kick. You're going to see PDX set a wall with the bigs, which they're doing right now.
Let's hold it for a minute.
2-0 is our score. PDX leads as we're getting near halftime.
We don't want them to score, man. We're still in this game.
That's the coach yelling. Our crowd mics are right down below us, and coach moved up to midfield to tell the team what to do.
So this is a really, really tough angle for the keeper. If you notice, the sun's right in his eyes.
Yeah.
That ball's got enough distance, 10 yards, to dip and drop in. Looks like, all right at the keeper. Not where he wanted to go. Will hit, just not where he wanted to go.
That was Braulio Marin again on the shot.
And he's, I think, the guy that took the shot that created the handball. So here's Brendan Dexter. They're throwing it out wide. He plays smart and safe wide. Scardino on the ball, going to cut back, play square. Now you look at PDX build, right? They're just going to switch and probe. Maybe we'll go back away from pressure. Brendan Dexter back on the ball. Now he's going to play smart and safe. And so what PDX strategy is right now is, look, we've got the lead. Let's just enjoy the ball, not force it forward. And if we're in possession, they can't score.
Right.
2 goals in the first 15 minutes for PDX. We've not had a goal since then.
And this is the hard part. I've always said the worst score you can have at halftime is 2-1, because the other team knows they're in it. They get fired up. The coach gives them big rah-rah speech. They come out, and now all of a sudden they make it 2-2, and now it's an open game, and you're upset because you gave the ball up. Well, that's a good turn by the big man. Adam King holds him up. They better get their back line sorted out quick.
That was Miles Sanchez.
Oh, that's
23.
a good strike. That's a good effort. He's in. Anytime a player is within the frame of the goal, it's a good choice to shoot.
Even high, you're saying?
Yeah, if you're around the 18 or just in front of it, and the defenders haven't stepped up and pressed you, and you got to look at the frame, as they say. You can have a go, have a dig. He did, and struck it well, just a little high.
It's never easy to make that decision. When do you take up space a little more, step in front a few more yards, test the defense, drop it off, or just take a shot right there?
Oh, there's a fist. There's a fist after. The referee didn't get that. My gosh.
That was number 9, and that's Borsy Adonatsov.
So.
Sit down on the ground. Sit on the ground. Ref!
There's a little bit of scuffle there in the box.
Yeah.
The big striker's trying to break through that right back.
Leave you
And
left mid.
And then you could hear the teaching from the coach to buy some time and take a seat in order to
He was
get
yelling
the referee.
at Mujada Tajik and told him to sit down, and he did.
Well, what he's saying is if you're injured, that allows us to sub. And, that if IPS sets the tempo, slows the game down, and this is where, with a little bit of, like I said, experience and nastiness, you can get in the head of these younger players. They haven't done it yet. It's a big win there. I think when you review the tape, that striker for IPS took a swing at
Sure looked like it to
the
me.
defender, but the referee, they can't see everything. Okay, this is a good opportunity for IPS. There's a good ball.
Nobody there. Center
Nobody
across
there.
the front. Nobody there.
Yeah, that was a good run and cross. So playing through the keeper, he just plays a big safe ball up in the wings, out of pressure. How much time do we have in this? Do we have a clock?
About 44 minutes in, although I didn't stop it during that stoppage of play earlier, so I think we're about 5 minutes away from the end of the first half.
It feels like it's getting close to half. The tempo is slowing down. Nunes beats him on a little touch. Here comes Nunes, and he's a crafty player. Watch him. He's going to play a softball through. This is going to be a strike and a goal. Oh, nope.
Oh, nice job by the goalie.
Great
to block
save.
that.
Yeah, great kick save. That was a nice little build-up and overlapping run by PDX. Nunes is getting back with pressure.
Ref, we're on a break there.
Oh, so the ref plays on.
Yeah, it was. He would have called it had they lost possession, I would
It
assume.
it was a foul. Nunes was grabbing and pulling, slowing him down, which is very professional, smart to buy time for your defense to get back. You can give up a foul out here, and referee caught it, was smart and let them play on, and they got an opportunity.
If you're in the advantage team there, where you're in a win-win situation to a certain degree, either you get the foul or you take the higher percentage play of, well, we don't even want the foul because we got an opportunity. But then in that case, a quick shot as we get to halftime, 2-0 to score. Real quick before we take a break is, if you're in that position, do you want to take a quick shot like that because you could have had the foul had you lost him? And what's your strategy in that situation?
Anytime you're going to goal and you got an opportunity, you always want that chance because it's very hard. Because what will happen is if you take the foul, now PDX collapses 10 guys in the box and you're trying to go through a school bus of players. Yeah. So usually you take the opportunity to go to goal and try and create something out of it. And that's exactly what happened.
All right, we're at halftime. Our score is 2-0. PDX leads IPS. 2 goals, one by Miles Sanchez at the 5-minute mark, one by Scardinia at the 15-minute mark. Gives PDX the lead. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get started with the second half, and we'll tell you a little bit about the upcoming Northwest Futsal Derby. All right, we'll be back.
Where you going to go to? They're over here, bro. They're down there. All the way in the trees on the
¿Dónde le? Pues tú no la traes. Te las di las dos. Ustedes están adentro del carro, güey. Te dejé la tuya, ¿no? Te dejé la tuya allí. ¿Calorcito? ¿En Rosita? Oh, no mames. Oh.
Welcome back to the Capital City Sports Complex. This is the Oregon Open Cup, Game 3. This is PDX FC versus IPS. I mentioned earlier about futsal, and we got a tournament coming up here next month. And Josh, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, not even a month away. First annual Northwest Futsal Derby happening August 15th, right up I-5 in Portland, Oregon. The best futsal teams in Oregon and Washington square off in an outdoor setting to crown the regional champion. Outdoor futsal, that's fun. For more information, go to www.oregonsportsbeat.com/NWFD. Again, that's oregonsportsbeat.com/NWFD.
And if you've never seen live futsal, it is fast, furious, loads of goal, and amazing skill. I think it's probably one of the most enjoyable spectator sports I've seen.
Really?
It's really, really quick, and you can really get right on top of the players and see the footwork these guys have.
You get a shot from somebody from their own goal, down a rocket shot down and score at the other goal.
Okay, so shameless plug by the proud dad. Number 21
is your son.
Right there. While they test him right out of the gate, he's playing the right center back position. They're keeping the Cuban international in front of him, and they're okay. What do they call there? Looks like offsides. Offsides. So they go right at him. That's welcome to the big boys. You know, you're gonna play with the men. They're gonna come right at you. That's not uncommon.
How did he handle it? You think he did well?
Oh, that was routine. There wasn't anything too threatening.
Yeah.
You get a great experience. You get to call a game that your son's involved in. I've done it a couple of times.
I actually asked him. I said, "Are you okay with that?" Or it's kind of and they said, "No, that's fine. You'll know you know a little bit about something about him." So, anyways. So Brendan Dexter on the ball. He's going to play, and they're going to build. And if you notice, he's going to swing it wide. Now you're seeing PDX stretch them. There's a nice long ball. Oh, he caught that defender over his head. Oh, got him offsides.
PDX in the black, and they will move from our right to our left. IPS in the red and white, and they will move from our left to our right. 2-0 our score. We're just underway. Second half action here on Oregon Sports Beat.
So no real big changes in the lineup of PDX other than the insertion of Keller Storley, your right center back. He's heading back to Madrid in 3 weeks. You'll see him playing for Getafe U19s. Here comes IPS. And Brendan Dexter reads it, sits in the channel, steals it. Scardino goes at him. Oh, that's a good, little bit of a long ball by the midfielder.
The winner of this game is going to play Peronis next week. They won the first game. And then the winner of game 2 that we did, that was
Puerto Paisas, the victor of that one.
Puerto Paisas will play the winner of game 4, and Josh will be doing the play-by-play on that game next. So
should be good. OVF Alliance versus Nayarit tonight, right, directly following this one.
So you just saw the little center midi Jesse. I want to say he was at Oregon State. I think he's got one more year of eligibility, but a beautiful turn and a nice little chip ball over the back line. That's what a good midfielder do. He'll sit and dissect and try and pick and probe at the back line, throwing balls over their heads, and that was a great ball. Adam King did all he could, the center back, to stop that and bust it up. Oh, there's the big man getting his head on. I told you they'd throw it right through him.
And went right to PDX with a goal on a corner kick, and that was tipped in by the big guy, number 26.
So, as I told you, if you got a guy that's 6'5",
yeah,
that's like having Shaquille O'Neal in soccer. You're going to just keep throwing it to him underneath the basket. And that's what they just did. Yeah, oh, yeah, that's a –
yeah.
And so that's 3-0. So, wow, if IPS doesn't react quick,
right,
this is going to be a very challenging match for him.
Daniel Size with the goal. He's 6'5", as we said, number 26.
That's a good ball. Brendan Dexter doesn't take the bait. He's very patient. And there's Saez breaking up the tackle again.
PDX 3-0 the lead.
You were saying late in the first half, Steve, 2-1 is the worst score, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you were talking from the perspective of the team leading. 2-1
Correct.
It's a dangerous score, one that could quickly turn unfortunate with a goal, especially in the early second half. Now, I'm guessing you wouldn't necessarily say, as bad as 2-1 is, you wouldn't choose the other. You wouldn't rather be
Right.
down 1-2, but maybe closer than you might think, perhaps.
Yeah, it's great attack by Scardino. He's driving at players, breaking lines. Oh, that's a good ball and a nice run.
Got it off on the wing. Back towards the middle, and now
Good strike.
IPS moves up front to defend.
So to your question, you really are, you always want to be ahead in any sport, right? But
Right.
you just, in the middle of the game, you don't want to let the other team sort of open the door, and they didn't. They were disciplined, held the 2-0 at halftime, and got an early goal. That will take the wind out of the sails of IPS.
Yeah.
And now you're going to see PDX just relax, take their time with the ball, and when you get up 3-0, you got so much confidence. It actually really, really helps. It's okay. Here's a
IPS with the ball on the left side.
Storley steps up and breaks it up. Good tackle. He better get back into center back position. There he goes. And there's the Cuban.
So how did he get from Cuba to here, do you know?
He actually defected in the Gold Cup.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's think about the bravery that takes to just say I'm not coming back, or the repercussions to your family.
Exactly.
So I think he took the calculation that there's a bright future for me in soccer somewhere else.
Yeah.
Possibly here in the United States. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him pop up on a USL team.
Wow.
You know, the U.S. government, or not government, but sports governments facilitate the, Cuban players who want to do that. I'm thinking of baseball, Yasiel Puig. The U.S. helped route him through Mexico.
So you just threw your bigs. You threw Saez, the center back Storley up there, and they just, instead of putting it in the mixer, it was a little wide of a cross, and they still, Nunes had a good look at it. Hard to shoot through a guy's shins. You're trying to shoot around him versus right through him, and ends up hitting the ball over the goal. So a bit of a wind here. The ball, what would you say, 10-mile-an-hour winds?
Maybe even a little bit more,
Yeah.
some gusts.
So look at the energy that they're putting on IPS. The PDX is pressing. This is the thing when you got a young, fit team, they just can set the tempo. That's a great through ball to number 9. Big man uses his reach.
Uses his arm, too.
Oh, that's a great little touch. And PDX is taking their time. Jesse's going to spray it wide to Dexter.
Time to start working, Red.
I think Dexter takes him on. Nope, he plays back safe.
And PDX is taking their time now.
Yeah, that's a great ball by Scardino. Good ball through the wing. He'll take his time, tee it up, and throw a cross in. Oh, he's going to go himself. Still going.
He already has a goal in this game.
A little too much. Can't do that. That should be a call. That's dangerous play. You're not allowed to lay on the field and tackle at the ball, but he laid down and popped right up. Judgment call by the referee.
It almost looked like he didn't look for the cross. As you said, you expected him to cross it in, and he took it himself, and maybe it was the right choice, but it almost looked like he didn't even look up and see who was there.
Yeah, well, I mean, certain players are going to be very attacking-minded, and Scardino's one of those. He loves to go to goal. He loves to attack, and it keeps the defense off balance because they don't know if you're going to cross or you're going to dribble at him.
Yeah.
And similar in basketball, it'd be like driving the lane, you know?
Right.
Jordan,
Right.
You never knew if he was going to dunk on you or pass it.
Right.
So you can't lay on the ground and kick at the ball.
Correct. That's called dangerous play, and you're actually supposed to move away from the ball so a guy doesn't step on your legs, break your feet. Break. Storley tracks back, plays a safe ball to the keeper, good smarts, and he'll get it back and build out from there. That's very much the Spanish way. You do not ever just panic and kick it out. You always play through your goalkeepers. Many of the European goalkeepers have better feet than the field players.
For contrast, what would you say is the American way, either in that specific regard?
The old way, I guess my way, was we would have just smashed it out of bounds or hit it up the field or laid it to the goalie, and he would smash it up the field, where goalkeepers in the United States now are far more confident and technical. As you saw that goalkeeper, he had a nice one-touch clean pass right back out, and they built out of there. That's really the right way, at least it's a more enjoyable way to play the game as a player, also for the fans to see that
And as
skill.
long as you've got the clinical skill to do it, seems better.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great ball by Jesse.
Great move forward that time by PDX. Throw in coming up for IPS.
Nunes! Nunes!
3-0 our score. PDX leads IPS. Winner of this game advances next week, and they'll play Porto Perones. I'm sorry.
So we have a sub here. Andrew Nunes had a nice first 45, 55,
Gabe Parrish.
55 minutes.
Gabe Parrish checks in, number
And
17.
It looks like Nunes is going to take a break. Nice workmanlike effort. Got up and down the wing. Some nice crosses by Nunes.
Moy Diaz checks in too, and let's see, a player coming out there is number 3, Andrew Nunes.
So this is very very smart by Babson. He's got the win for the most part. Maybe not, but he's giving guys minutes. He's using his depth, resting players. Especially you want to rest your wingers because they got to run a lot, and sometimes your center middies. He'll probably continue to make subs, give his players experience. So you can see that IPS definitely has the talent and the ability to build and play the ball and the patience, skill. And they're trying that, there's a lot of wonderful movements right there. King decides to say, let's just go test their backline. That was a high kick. Player jumped up, put his foot by the other player's face, put him in danger. Referee got it.
Adam, leave you left back. Miguel, left back. Leave you left center back.
Looks like Adam's hurt. This guy was the Iron Man, Adam King of Oregon soccer. The fact that he's playing against 18-year-olds, he's in his 40s.
It's impressive.
It's very, very impressive. He's one tough cookie. I got to play with and against him, and I'd always rather play with him. So Storley's playing through. How do you say his last name? Sal?
Gustavo, switch with
The Cuban's last name? How do you say it?
Says, I think.
Saiz. I think you're going to watch those two connect. You notice the Saiz gave Storley the big thumbs up. They're building confidence. That's very important that you have your center backs. You'll have one that defends and one that sort of brings the ball out like a quarterback, and they'll connect with their 6. Here it goes again. Watch what happens. So they're building confidence. He's going to trust him, or he's going to build a ball right to the 9 himself. That's called a breaking a line. It's very, very hard to do. Storley steps in. He's patient. He's going to build again through his 9. That 9 is the target striker.
PDX forward across in front. Nice save by the goalie. Got his hands out. Still in front. There's a shot. Another good save by the goalie.
That's a great run by Dexter. And he cut the ball back away from the keeper with pace, so created an opportunity. Boy, I will tell you, the Saiz, if he can get himself really match fit, whether it be a center back, he doesn't seem as mobile as a lot of the bigger center backs. I could see why now Luke Babson's playing him in there, because he's very comfortable on the ball for his size.
You almost wonder if you'd consider putting up, I don't know about a 9 is maybe a little over the top, but you'd use him in those set pieces. But at the same time, even where he's at as a 6, he can still come in on corners like he has before.
Sure, and I'm sure, see, there's Storley, and he's letting Saiz just dictate the tempo. I think in the modern game, what you're seeing now is you'll see target forwards, and a number 9 is the number in the position. They'll often end up either as a center back or as a target forward.
Yeah.
So many of the,
Johnny!
a lot of people will say call a position by its actual not number, or they'll call it by their position.
Right.
So the Saiz guy, you would see him as a striker, target striker, or a center defender.
Sure.
But if you've got the luxury of two very strong big center backs, 6'2", 6'1", you can throw him up in the field.
Got some pretty good gusts, which might only make this in-swinging cross in the corner even more difficult, both to defend and to hit well on frame.
Corner coming up. PDX on the kick from the left side.
Watch Brendan Dexter on this one. A little short. Oh, that's a great run and goal. Wow. So that sub just came in and immediately makes an impact on a very hard ball to hit first time.
Yeah.
Buries it. That was a beautiful finich.
Did you see who that was?
Number 10.
Your number 10 for PDX.
And that is,
A 20.
I don't have a number 10 or a number 20.
Excuse me. Oh, okay.
Is it 20?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
See if you got that on your roster.
I do.
Wandy, left mid. Tell Emmanuel to come to right mid.
4-0, PDX leads.
The goal was number 20, Musa Misa, who is a Seattle Pacific player.
Oh, okay. 2 goals in the first half for PDX, 2 goals here in the second half, 4-0 our lead.
And it looks like Musa Misa was a late addition. Obviously a good choice by Coach Babson.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 4-0, 4-0. That is a big goal for IPS.
That was a great goal, but it was also a great corner kick, a low driving kick, allowed the striker to get his head on the ball and direct it right in.
Another sub was the boy who just stole the ball there is Sky Boyard Charlie. He is a center midi. He is going to Southern Oregon. Like I said, they're picking up a lot of talent. Very talented youth player. A lot of these guys you'll see for PDX are just seniors.
Yeah.
They're graduating seniors.
Oh,
If Was he a LaSalle kid?
He was a LaSalle kid, yeah,
Yeah.
part of that team that won the 5A state championships.
Yeah.
Right.
And Storley wins the ball. He's patiently bringing it up the field. Looks like he's going to cut inside. Plays through his 9 again, finds a little gap, and there goes PDX on the run. Great through ball by the target striker.
On the right wing, quickly ahead, in the middle, knocked away by IPS.
Wow. Great pressure by PDX. Oh, wow, that's a nice touch for Sky Bolliard. He's going to have a go, I bet. Nope, he gets hammered. Oh, he still has it. Runs into 2 players. Oh, there's a big tackle.
Storley on that tackle.
Great save by the keeper. Good anticipation. Yeah, but you got to win those, but that's a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
You could hear it from up here in the stands.
Yeah.
They both wanted to win that ball.
It was about as close as 50-50 as you'll ever get.
I would check that ball for structural damage.
a lot of newtons of force there, and it didn't go anywhere in either
Yeah,
direction.
Exactly.
Get it. Yeah, 2 of you. Use them and then get it back. Use them and get it back, Tony.
They did take Saez out right before that goal, which will be interesting to see how that affects the pace and the passing for both teams, honestly. I wonder if they'll quicken the pace on one side or make it easier for IPS to run it through the center of the field, since he's been such a big presence in the middle this whole match, although you could tell he was getting tired towards the end.
Certainly, but a lot of the game was going through him. I think I can understand if this game is won, the coach wants to bring that kind of player off, rest him, and make sure he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Very, very, and you've got obviously the gentleman, the Musa Misi brought in, comes out with an immediate impact with a goal.
And even though he's not the same type of player, at least different physique, he seemed to offer a complementary style of play. At least just the quick bounce off the corner is exactly what they needed, and they seemed to vibe off each other pretty well after being subbed one for another.
So really, Amisi, he just stepped in and won that tackle. All he's got to do is come in and just sit in front of the defense, lock this game down, turn the key, and take the win. Good ball by Sky Charlie. One interesting fact about Sky Charlie Bolliard is he's half American Indian. I remember seeing him as a young player. He always used to have the American Indian mohawk. Very, and he's very skillful. You get too close to him, he'll pick your pocket, take your wallet, and have the ball. Sometimes he does too much, tries to do too many things, but in this type of game, when you're winning 4-0, you take a young guy and let him build some confidence and get out, and it makes sense.
The Sal team was pretty talented. I mean, we called a couple of Sal games.
Oh, you
for
did,
Oregon
yeah.
Sports
Oh,
Beat.
boy, they were loaded.
They eliminated Corvallis High School in the, I forget if it was the quarterfinals or the semifinals this past 5A state bracket, and went on to win the state title. But they've got some really talented guys in that squad, including Sky.
All right, checking into the game for IPS is number 4, Francisco Casas.
I want to say that they put numerous players into the collegiate ranks.
Yeah, for sure. And some underclassmen who will get there too.
Yeah, there's watch a young player there named Misai. He scored a goal as a sophomore in that state final that was just an absolute cracker. There's another, that's a great ball by striker, didn't even see it coming. There's another, Carter Lazarides has gone on to Westminster from that group. He's a very talented left-footed player.
I remember him.
Luke Strange,
Luke Strange is going to Wesleyan in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of those guys are going to move on.
And his brother was a freshman and could be more talented than Luke, who was one of the best players in the state.
Yeah, absolutely. Quentin Strange. He's starting to grow into his body. Will be fun to watch him. He's a really tenacious, very, very technical, skillful player.
Speaking of Oregon programs, whether we're talking about teams like we're watching right now, IPS, PDX FC, or the high school feeder programs, how do you see the growth of Oregon soccer, the high school programs, the club teams? What do you see about how Oregon faces out against other states compared to decades before?
You know, the hard part is, we develop a lot of talented players. Oh, that's a good effort by the big man. A lot of players goes, for instance, my son was playing at LaSalle. He went on to go play abroad.
Close, Tony. Come on.
You have
Come on,
players that
heads
go
up.
into the
Heads
MLS
up.
academies
Yeah.
and aren't allowed to play high school. So some players choose to. At the ladies level, they're allowing more players to play high school. So it depends on where and what. But I think Oregon is, with the Timbers and the support of the game and the fan base here being Soccer City USA, I think that there's lots of talent. We don't compete with there's Sky trying to do too much. We don't compete with the Californias where,
Sure.
remember, Portland Metropolitan's 1 million people. LA is like 30 million. So you could do the math. But if you watch some of these teams, like you mentioned, Corvallis and Bend and even Hood River, they're developing players out of nowhere. There's some real talent coming out of these little hotbeds that you wouldn't, Medford, you wouldn't think are soccer hotspots, but they're
Jesuit.
that are
Jesuit.
Well, Jesuit's always a perennial powerhouse, and pick your sport, right?
Yeah, Tony Vandermeer's doing a good job with South Albany High School when he was there recently, stepped away, but they've had a lot of talent. And
Sure.
the programs you brought up, Hood River was pretty impressive, and
I've done a number of games up at Hood River, and
Newport
they're
too.
great. Staten.
State and Woodburn.
Woodburn and Salem, even this area right here. There's a lot of kids, and it's funny because every now and then you'll get some player that comes out of the woodwork from one of these little communities that's highly technical.
PDX doing a good job keeping the ball away from the front of the net.
A great bit of skill by Jesse there for PDX. If you look at the tempo of IPS, I think their brains want to get back and do with it. It's just at 4-0 in the heat. It's got to be 90 degrees on the pitch. Starting to see the way for wear. That's a great through ball. But if you look at PDX as controlling the tempo, they're controlling possession. I'd say they've got possession right now 65-35.
Or more.
Oh, wait a minute, that's 100 minutes. Let's say 65-25.
Just throw it back now. And
So you don't really need to do anything too aggressive with the ball. What you're doing is, Dexter opts to be pretty, tries to, break the other team down with a pass and attack, but really, I think you want that one back to play around the back. But it was a good idea.
4-0, PDX leads IPS. Oregon Open Cup Soccer. First round.
We all press. Keep pressing.
Dexter shows a bit of strength. Gets the foul called. Oh, calls a jersey pull by Dexter. Coach Fahey's letting players know, hey, there's still 20 minutes. Let's make this respectable. Let's get a goal or two. And if you know Jerry Fahey, the coach, he is a competitor to the last minute.
Yeah, we're about 25 minutes in, so I'm sure they'll do that halfway break in the middle of the second half at any point. We'll have about 25 minutes on the back end left, but PDX FC clearly in control so far. Do you think IPS has left a lot on the table today, or do you think they've just been outmatched?
I think that they have lots of talent experience, but, you're seeing the modern game today being played by younger, faster. Oh, here's trouble. That's a great stop by Dexter to step in front of that, take one on a driven ball right at the belly. I think that this is just a game where you've got younger, fitter players that are covering more ground, and on a hot day, that I think the tie and the tip goes to the younger players.
Mm-hmm.
Corner kick coming up for IPS from the right side.
The other is, I think that, a lot of these younger guys have preparation for college, so they're out running. And a number of the players for IPS have probably been locked down on COVID and not been able to get out and practice and train. And soccer's such a game of fitness that it makes a real big difference. So keeper doesn't see what he likes, doesn't want to take a risk, so bangs it up the field through his target player. So number great cross, cuts the ball back, tough luck. Good ball.
Offside flag is up.
Now it's very hard to see how they call an offsides when the ball's cutting back. It actually has to be a forward pass. I'm not sure what they're calling that. But. And that's a corner off the foot of the defender. IPS showing their frustration, but linesman might see something different.
I didn't see anything there.
Oh, he says he didn't see it.
I couldn't tell if there was anything. I don't know.
Cody, let's make sure we're marking. Pull guys in. I know, we'll talk.
Corner kick coming
No
up for
free
PDX
headers,
from
guys.
the left side.
4-0. So Jesse Garcia, the number 7, has done a great job of controlling the game and just moving the ball side to side, little
Andre, who do you
touches,
have, Andre?
breaking players down. He's a center midfielder. Very nice skills, prototypical midfielder. He just took the cross, trying to get back. You've got Dexter and Storley pressuring him, and they win the ball back with swarm defense. That's that pressure I'm talking about. You get 3 guys pressing a ball, it's very hard to get out of that situation. Now let's see if Sky does something simple. Nope, tries to do too much.
Go on, carry it.
Dexter cleans up the mess.
Go.
Well done, Tony.
IPS with the throw in.
Smart, Tony. That's good.
Tiago.
Looks like we're going to have a keeper change. Goalkeeper change for IPS.
Yep.
And you can't blame the big man coming off in the green, the goalkeeper for IPS. He made a lot of great saves today, but when guys are coming in waves and they're shooting from point blank close, there's not a lot you can do. I will give him credit.
I think it is Thiago Pereira.
He had a nice game for what he could control. He did a very good job of making a lot of nice kick saves, putting himself in the right positions to block shots.
Nothing else, good practice to see a lot of balls come at you, and you might not save them all, but get some work and see some game action.
Yeah, I'm sure he's frustrated with where the scoreline is. So number 8, Sky, just holding on to the ball too long. And that's, if you've not played against men, they're going to, high school to stepping up against men is a big difference. So the back line of PDX is just shutting them down, putting a fort in front of them, saying, you can go wide, you can try to go over the top, but you're not coming through.
Yeah.
And we're going to play out through Storley, through the 6. Keeper feels comfortable. He's taking his time. Ooh, he's hitting a big switch in the air. That's kind of dangerous.
It was a bit dangerous. He hit that a little lower than he intended to. That could have been trouble.
Sky hits a nice ball. He's starting to clean it up and play simple. Here's Jesse on the ball. There's that trying to see how he's picking away at the back line, just trying to find a little soft ball over the center backs' heads. And he doesn't get it, but all it takes is a couple of those, and you've got goals.
4-0. PDX remains in the lead.
So if you were to ask me about the soccer players today, there's good strength and speed. So he's not going to knock him off the ball. He's just going to put his body in between that player and say, look, you're going to have to go around me.
Foul me to get that.
Exactly. That's what a center back will do is you're going to have to go really around me, not through me. So, if you were to ask me what's going on with youth soccer in Oregon right now, there's Oregon and the Southwest Washington area is booming with kids playing
Yeah.
both soccer and futsal.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been very challenging. I talked to a lot of the local clubs. They can't get kids out and play. And I think we're going to look back on all this and say, you know, as a social study, how did that impact kids not being allowed out to play sports?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not to by any means take this political, but I feel for the kids that are stuck at home in the summer and can't get out and play. And let's hope that a vaccine happens and we get back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah. Yeah, for soccer, for any sport, I mean.
Oh, geez, summer camps, travel, vacations,
Yeah.
and what we're hearing is that, you know, the testing. There's about 100 companies that are trying to come up with a vaccine. It's a race for who gets the first one.
Yeah.
That's a great ball by your center back. Look at how fast these guys are getting in their end. That was 1, 2, and 3 passes, and within 6 seconds, you're
Talk about letting the ball do the work for you.
Yeah, see, exactly. The ball just ran 60 yards. You know, a lot of the great coaches will say soccer is a game that is a really simple game made hard by players. And if you watch your top European teams, they'll just let the ball do the work. They just one and two touch, move the ball around. But when you get a game that's 4-0, everybody wants a piece of the pie and wants to take a piece of it. Enjoy it, dribble a little too much.
Yeah. Four 0 down. IPS trying to make something happen.
So we're headed towards the last third of the games. Players are tired. It's hot. The results been contested and weighed and found in, I think, PDX's favor. We'll see. But
About 32 minutes into the second half. We've not taken that water break. Perhaps they're just choosing to play through it. Maybe the choice, or maybe they'll take it a little bit later on in the half. Usually we've been taking that about 25 minutes into each half. But perhaps they're just saying, let's just keep on playing, and what be will be, perhaps. But either way, 4-0, PDX FC on top.
oh, good steal. So when you look at the game in soccer through decades, when I grew up, there was one complex. It was Delta Park. Now we have multiple field turf complexes around the state of Oregon. You have we can always have more, and I'm an advocate for more. But even look at this venue. Oh, that's a great effort by trying to catch the keeper on the chip him. But there's all over the state, there's so many different kids and places playing, and there's more facilities, and any sport that grows has to have players, facilities, and coaches.
Yeah. We're happy to be able to call at least one small portion of that and what the Oregon Open Cup has brought. And perhaps this is the water break, more 2/3 through the second half, but we'll take it. It is 4-0 PDX FC. And we'll take a brief break and be back in just a moment for the remainder of the second half. 4-0 PDX on top. You're watching Oregon Sports Beat.
Good job, guys. Well done. Thank you. Wasn't too hard to do this one.
All right, welcome back here. Our score when we took the break for the water break was 4-0, and I guess they've had some discussions, the referees and the coaches, and have agreed to end the game right now. It's pretty warm, and this game started a little late, so we're trying to stay on track for the start of the 8 o'clock game.
Right.
So this game is officially in the books at 4-0 win for PDX.
And
2
so-
goals in the first half, 2 goals in the second half.
And they will go on to play.
Puerto Perones, right?
Perones,
Where's
yes.
Perones hail from? Where do they?
Most of their players are from the coast.
From the Oregon coast.
Okay.
Okay.
North Bend, Coos Bay,
Interesting.
around in those areas.
So there you go. Another pocket of players.
There you go.
Hats off to Luke Babson and his group. They came out with a lot of ferocity, passion, pace, and set the tempo early and
Yeah.
scored some very nice goals.
Thanks for, yeah.
All right, want to thank my broadcast partners, Josh Warden. And Josh, you're going to call Game 4 coming up here in about
That's right.
20 minutes. Steve Storley. And Steve,
Thanks for joining us.
thanks for joining us. What a wealth of knowledge you've
Yeah,
got.
that was fun, and really appreciate the chance to share my opinion.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, you can stick around. 8 o'clock will be the start time. Josh will be doing the play-by-play. Those 2 teams will be,
OVF Alliance and Nayarit.
all right, and they will play, the winner of that game will play the winner of the game that you just called here, game number 2.
Yes.
And that was the game that was won by
Puerto Paisas.
Pisces. Yeah, that's right. All
Yeah.
right, Kate. All right, well, thanks for joining us here. Our crew tonight, Jim Thompson on the camera, Alva Myers on the audio, our producer, Ryan Johnson. Again, my partners, Josh Warden and Steve Storley. Thanks to both of you. I'm Dave Hall. On behalf of Oregon Sports Beat, we'll be back at 8 o'clock.